Joining us now is therapist Megan Sutherland. Hi there, Megan.
Hello.
Megan, we have our person of the week, Connie Gibbs. She's in a wonderful situation right now. She's got a whole new kind of life opening up to her. Mm-hmm. And it's a big transition in terms of leaving, one way of being into another. Mm-hmm. Now you specialize, one of the things you do is specialize in life transitions. Mm-hmm. Connie talked about finding an interesting challenge in reinventing her relationship with her now adult daughters. Mm-hmm. That turns out to be quite a profound life transition for many of us, and we tend to not officially acknowledge it, and yet it's a really big deal, is it not?
It is. I mean, one of the things as parents we're always doing is we're guiding, we're directing, and then what? Once that is over, then what are we left with? So struggling with purpose is a huge issue. What does this mean for me as a person? What does this mean for me? What is my role in this life?
So how would one start to think differently once the mother or father hat is firmly removed and we're in a new phase with our children?
Well, I think one of the most important things is actually to normalize what we're feeling, to acknowledge. There is a range of ways of reacting to this kind of situation, and to really just try to be with that and try to see what's happening there for oneself, and just really to recognize that what's happening is normal. And when I say normal, there could be a number of different normals, but for each person, I think it's really important not to then judge one's own reaction to the life event. It's very key, because then we get into this whole other thing where we're now judging ourselves for that, and then that's a whole other layer of difficulty that we don't actually need to be dealing with. So actually starting and just seeing, yeah, this is what I'm going through. Okay, sort of step one.
How do we then take the next step to start changing our behavior and rewiring how we act?
Yeah, I mean, it's really doing an evaluation of one's own life, seeing where we're at, looking at what our goals are, how fulfilled are we right now in our life? Because the temptation is if we've been used to focusing on our kids, keeping going back to that. But sometimes this actually represents a real opportunity for us to look within and actually start to see ourselves in different ways that weren't possible when we were actually raising our children.
I'm sure there's still some tangible communication tools that we can keep in the backs of our minds when we're talking with our adult children to ensure that there's a wonderful communication instead of kind of a little bit of resentment or shutting down on either side.
Yeah. Listening is really underrated. We always have the temptation that we want to say the right thing, we want to come up with the perfect response, the perfect way of supporting, but oftentimes our children just want to actually be heard. Mm-hmm. So actually stepping back and saying nothing, but deeply listening to what they're saying, and maybe following up with actually just even paraphrasing a little bit and saying, this is what I hear you saying. Mm-hmm. Even better perhaps than I understand, because we don't necessarily understand. Right. But working to try to understand. And when children feel acknowledged, I mean, that's how the bonding happens. And the temptation is often for us to rush in and give advice. And sometimes that's what our children are actually wanting, but I would recommend to hold back first, to really listen and ask them. Would it be okay with you if I shared my ideas here? Or are you looking for any guidance?
Right.
Not necessarily saying, insisting on that.
It's a wonderful way to say, I completely trust you as you're my child, but you're an adult. You're on your own, and I'm here for you in however you need.
Yes.
Not, I'm going to tell you what to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it can be so difficult to actually change our focus from being the one that directs and guides, nurtures, to being the one that listens, and to actually allow our children to be adults.
So it's really worth stopping, listening, withholding advice, and just being.
Just being, absolutely it is. Yeah, if you're talking about wanting a good relationship with your children, it's a really wise investment.
Well, it does sound like it takes some practice, but it's well worth it.
Absolutely. I'd say don't focus on the fancy techniques, really just being present.
Megan Sutherland, thank you for your calm and wise words.
Thank you.
North of 49, a guide to the rest of your life.